So, as a kid that was A, bullied, and B, read Stephen King books in middle school and high
Really?
school, this was pretty exciting yet
Yeah.
daunting, a little bit of a
Uh-huh.
and I really appreciated that it was a lot more faithful to the book than the movie that we all
I
grew up
love
with.
this book, and I was also a big reader of Stephen King. I stayed up all night long to read The Stand.
Awesome. Yeah.
I read it like in a fever. I was like, I can't stop. But I love this book because it's about, he really wrote a story about the effects of social isolation, about, what does it mean for somebody to be left out, to be marginalized, and how dangerous it is. And especially, I think, for people in middle school and people in high school, when they're just learning how to be human beings, how to be social beings, they don't really know what they're doing. They
Right.
haven't. They're still trying to figure it out. They don't know what things feel like. And so, this is a movie that sort of addresses that and talks about how we all have a responsibility to not do that to each other.
And I like sort of how allegorical it is, because it's
Yeah.
really just, she's actually just a real life teenager, but it's
Yeah.
exaggerated through this
Yeah,
hyper-realized movie world.
And that's what Stephen King does.
Yeah.
He's the Dickens of horror. He writes about character and relationships and emotion all through the call of the paranormal. And even when you talk about like telekinesis, I had somebody ask me very seriously if I believed in telekinesis. It's like asking, do you believe in Zeus?
Right.
And you're like, well, the thing about when we write about people with special powers or superheroes or anything, we're writing about emotion. And Stephen King, more than anybody, I think, is able to kind of manifest feeling, real emotion through these sort of extreme behaviors.
And I think with this character that you took on, you always hear actors talk about kind of the challenge of, you want to find the truth in even like the most villainous character, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, what sort of work did you have to do to get to the meat of
I didn't
believing in
have
her?
much to do. I mean, because of how well he wrote her. He talks about how she was someone who was marginalized within her own family. She was kind of considered odd and an outcast, and she joins this religious cult and finds that cult too liberal, too permissive, so meets a man and they form their own church, marry, and then when he passes away, she doesn't even know that she's pregnant. She thinks she has cancer and that she's dying, and has kind of deluded herself in a sense. So when you start with that kind of a backstory, you sort of know, you have an idea about who she is and how extreme she is, and the fact that she's constructed her own world, her own church, her own strange parameters to her life.
One thing that I heard some people say when each of you were cast was, wow, they're great, but they're too pretty, they're too attractive to play this, these two characters.
Yeah.
I
don't look so pretty, do I?
I was gonna say, like, what, how brave is that, right? Like, how daunting
thank you.
does that feel to get in front of the
It
camera
was
like
so much work to make myself look so bad. It was fun. I mean, it was a fun thing to do. I make this joke where I say that I would be on the set looking like that every day. And one day we were doing some EPK stuff, and so I came in. I was dressed in my regular clothes, and I had some makeup on. And Chloe's mom, Terry, saw me and went, "Oh, you look so pretty." She was so shocked. I was like, "Yeah, okay, I know I look terrible, but yeah."
a backhanded compliment.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
you're actually very
Yeah, I
pretty.
know. I had no idea.
That's great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
and really well done. I really
Aw,
enjoyed it.
thanks a lot.